So my son is 6 years old. His name is Peyton. He's delightful and super ornery. He was born with a developmental disability and delay. We had no clue that he was going to be born with a disability or delay at all. We learned that when he was in the NICU. He stopped breathing when he was born. He did 9 days in the NICU as a full-term baby. In the NICU, we had speech therapy come down because he was having trouble eating. And that was kind of our first indication that there was going to be some deficits from him stopping breathing. So that's just how our journey started.
When a family gets a diagnosis right away, that's a really hard time, and it can be incredibly overwhelming. What we have seen happen is families receive our information in the hospital along with 5 million other things, and they get sent home. And so I always recommend to a family that's maybe leaving the hospital with a baby that was in the NICU or a baby that has just received a diagnosis to sit down and meet with that social worker at the hospital. They're phenomenal, and they will help you navigate this, and they'll get them connected to us.
So when they took him to the NICU and they did all the testing and they reopened his lungs and they had speech come in to help us with the eating and all of that, they had given us a direct referral to contact our county board. I actually waited a little while because I was like, oh, we're home. Do we really need to do this? Is this really? And at this point, I had no direct diagnosis of what was going on. But as we spent a little bit more time at home, and I want to say we got to about the 3-month mark, I'm like, oh, we're not really rolling over. We're not really babbling. We're not really doing the things that my older 2 children had done. So I was like, oh, maybe it is time to reach out. So I called the county board and I just said, hey, said my name, said how old my son was, kind of gave them the rundown. And they said, okay, somebody will call you back. Pretty quick response time. The whole team came out to our house, right into our own living room where your everyday life is set up. And they came in, and it was a speech therapist, it was an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, and then a developmental specialist that just does everything. And they came in, a 4-person team. They did all of the assessments, wrote up the assessment, called me back, said that we definitely qualified for services. And then the developmental specialist started coming to our home weekly.
So a lot of times it will come up at a doctor's visit where maybe a pediatrician brings up they're missing a milestone, or ultimately, maybe the parents are seeing that there's lack of eye contact, or maybe the baby isn't progressing with language development where they should be saying a few words and they're not. Those are good starting points. Some of the red flags that we look for are subtle. Some of them are bigger, where, maybe we have a baby that isn't rolling or isn't sitting during the time we expect the child to start those milestones. If that's the case, it's always good to get a second opinion and take a look at what's happening.
So it led to lots of doctors, lots of working with the board who, thank God, that they kind of took our hand and kind of walked us through it, because obviously he's 6, so he's actually going to 1st grade this year because he'll be 7 in November. We had a really unique situation. So the first developmental specialist that worked with us, shout out to Kelly Hill, she came in home. Well, she got promoted about 6 months before Peyton was going to transition into school age services. And so when he finally made the transition, which, by the way, the board walked us through the whole thing, went with us to the meeting with the school, told me exactly what was going to happen, as far as getting the IEP set up. They were wonderful. But we got to transition back to Kelly then, because she was a child SSA at that time. So she went to all of the meetings, when I was starting kindergarten. And a lot of people don't know this. You have the right to have the advocate from the board go with you and help support you at the school. And they do that, and they will do that. And it was a really big success for us, because even working in this field and knowing what I know about rights of the individuals and all of that stuff, it's different when you go into a school system. And the school systems, unfortunately, try to get away with whatever they can get away with. So having an advocate to support you when you know what you're saying and feeling is correct really makes all the difference.
One of our roles in early intervention is to help with that transition into school. So when we have a kiddo that's turning 3, we start the transition process where we notify the local school district if they're going to go to a public school. We get them involved. We do a joint home visit so that the family can then meet representatives from the school, talk about the needs of the child, and the school sort of takes the reins from there, where they'll set up an evaluation on the kiddo. They'll write the IEP at that point. A lot of times the developmental specialist is directly involved with that, and which is great because we've been involved for 3 years and we have good insight as to what will work with this kiddo. And from there, they'll start school, and there's still Board of DD services available. It's just not the early intervention program at that point. They would go into the SAS unit.
So they helped me to contact the school. They let the school know, like, hey, we're involved too. I had to sign a form that said that, like, the school could communicate with them, obviously, a release. And then I'm like, everything that gets sent to me about Peyton, I would also like it to go to Kelly, because that way we have a double set of eyes on it. Anytime I had a question about anything, she'd answer it or say, hey, let's call a meeting. Let's all go to the table. So I really think that it's kind of special that they come to your house and kind of help you with some of the things that you already have there to make those adjustments for your children.
You know, if you're having a gut feeling that maybe something isn't right or something feels a little off, have them evaluated. It's free. It's open to anyone. We welcome everybody, even if there's mild concerns. We would rather evaluate and find that nothing is wrong than wait too long and then have them evaluated. You know, I always think about this when I'm talking about like just having these kiddos evaluated. When you think about brain development, from birth to 5, 90% of our brain develops during that time. And there was a recent research study that came out of Arizona that showed 1 million neurological transactions and components and you know, connections happen per second during those 5 years. So when you think about like the incredible force of early intervention and getting these kiddos in before 5, it's really powerful.
Do not wait. Call the board, get involved, let them help you. Don't be afraid. They're not there to judge you. They're there to help you. And our experience truly has made all of the difference.